been a while since we had one of these.
Well. It's currently October 15th, 2024, and it is 2:53 p.m. EST. We're back.
And better than ever. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
What's the name of our podcast? Oh, I remember. I don't know if that makes sense.
Alright, I'm glad because I forgot. Man,
cool.
It's crazy, man. It's almost last time we sent something out, it was like April. Was it April?
No, it might have been May, June, I think. We can check. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
We pretty much took the summer off.
Yeah. We made a lot of growth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pain, but that's okay. Because without pain,
there's no growing.
There's no growing.
So what'd you do this summer?
Let's see. This summer I had to go back to live with my parents, mainly just due to financial reasons, to try and sustain this place that we're currently living in. But that's the main reason I got back, or I went there. But it's been a lot, you know. Just I know I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, mental, medical, physical, or I mean the physical isn't medical, but no, I know I had to go there because I wanted to maintain this I guess this fantasy or this castle of mine that I've built with a really good friend of mine, because without it then, well, I really wouldn't know what I'll be doing. What about you?
What did I do? I still work at Whole Foods.
Let's go.
No, I think Adrian and I really focused on our building of trust and deepening our understanding of each other and ourselves.
Trust.
You know?
Yeah.
And went on vacation for a second. That was cool. You know, she started teaching. Now I do the overnight thing.
Right.
Which, I like. Hopefully you'll get you to do it too. But... Yes, I finally did it, everyone. I got Soul. I'm getting Soul a job at Whole Foods. That's all you're gonna ever hear about. They're gonna get we're gonna be sponsored. No, but genuinely, in that sense, I feel like the summer was locking into what things I want and what I need.
Right.
You know, and I was really thinking about I was thinking about this actually the other day too. Just how far I've come. The moment I really was I kind of want to try this minimalist thing, but understanding that it transcends physical objects.
Yeah.
And it goes into your relationships and your wants and needs. The goal is to need and want less. You know, not to physically have less, but it's to understand I need less things. Right. Because what I have is more than I've realized previously. And I think for me that's what the summer was. I mean, now we're kind of well into the fall. Oh, Athena's still here. She doesn't pay rent, but she is still here, in fact.
No worries. Also, just to say this here, but the cat isn't picking up.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I don't have to wow, that's great.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I know one of the things I still continue to do during the summer was to stream and to continue doing what I said I am going to be doing, which is to be in a life that I carved on my own, which is to just film, do what I want, and just be with the people that I hand chose, and. In that same wave, I understand what you mean with the physically not needing more, but it's again just on that either spiritually. I know I was very just worn down and very suppressed because before the summer started, I ended up having my cards read by a really good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing that she was telling me was that you have such an abundance of energy
Mm-hmm.
that you always give out to people. But when will you ever let yourself feel that energy for you? Which, like, that, I'm like, it hit.
Right.
And, like, and then another thing, too, is that, like, she was like, and another thing is that you're going to see, like, butterflies. And butterflies are strong and so beautiful, but at the same time, so fragile with just a touch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, like, genuinely, like, animal-wise, I've just been seeing butterflies, like...
Yeah, actually?
Like, for the entire thing, even just now. Or going throughout into the fall. But no, that is something this summer that has just been hitting me a lot, because I know I gave out so much of me, and I was just starting to lose my sense of self again. And especially with work. That is one thing I know
Right.
I locked in.
Yeah.
Like, if just a clarification of my stuff, I ended up working 2 jobs, and it started from, my first job was from like 8 in the morning till 4, and immediately afterwards I had to go to my second job. And my first job I worked as a custodian, like cleaning public bathrooms, and then my second job I was a bar back in like this like family like restaurant, and it was my first time working in the restaurant industry, and Lord have mercy on my soul, that shit was painful, and it was just a lot mentally. And like, I know one of the things I had to deal with was having somebody, like having multiple people just like either berate me or just yell at me just to like go. It was just so much. I know I definitely will speak about on like the next
that's a good
next
episode.
But it was essentially like I was losing my sense of self because I was just like week wise I was working like minimum like 80-hour work weeks, and it was just to a point where like I would wake up, go to work, come back from work, go to sleep, and it's just a repeat for like 6 days out of the week. And it was just starting to gnaw at me so much because I remember telling myself, like, I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I told myself I was going to work to live, not live just to work. But then at the very end of it, the only thing that was pushing me was, I have this apartment. I have something outside of here. I'm not going to live the rest of my life here.
Right.
And really, like, think about that rest of your life. That is just something that is, I have to come around that, like, I have a long life. Just because a lot of events have occurred, it doesn't define me, and it doesn't, again, lock me into this one, like, category.
Right.
I can truly be free. I just know that the prison right now is just my own self.
Damn, right. Right.
So I know that was my version of locking in, which is really like,
right.
I'm just doing this to help myself, to finally, and also to finally like use the money that I earned for me.
Right.
Like, simply put, like
this nice new PC setup and this nice new mic that we're using.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy the crisp.
The much better sound. Yeah.
I know, like, another thing, like, in December, I'm gonna go to see some really good friends of mine in Dallas.
You're going to Texas again?
Yeah.
Ah, snap, homie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, but again, it's like, you like, cause I understand, like, the usage just of money and capital. That's literally, we could talk about years about that. Right. But just, like, in the end of the day, like, in this lifetime of ours, we just have to be conscious of how we, lock in.
I was gonna, you know what I was just thinking about?
What?
Is there's a difference between being able to lock in and locking yourself in.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference between having a focus and a goal versus just caging yourself to be safe. Right? And I think, because as you were talking about that, I know this summer in like, I use, just from like, this is how I was kind of just raised, work is like a means of escape. Work is a means of like distraction from like personal work,
right?
Like the at-home work, you know, because then I'm like, oh well, I'm being productive. Oh well, I have a job, I'm productive,
right?
But then it's like, yeah, that's nice, but like, are you still doing like the needed personal work on yourself? Are you like taking care of yourself? You know, like you said, like you can work all you want, have all this shit all you want, but like if you're not aware of how to fix the true things in your life, the things that really matter for the rest of your life, the locking in is just locking yourself in a cage.
Right.
It's not maintaining a focus.
Right.
You know, and I think I had to relearn that, I think this summer. And I think having the overnight position now is different in that, you know, I come home and in the morning I go to sleep, but when I wake up, Adrian's back. And then we make sure like we have that time together. Right. So I get like Adrian time before work, and she gets Andrew time after work.
Right.
So as I'm like gearing up, she's de-escalating.
Right.
And I think that's helped with our like communication, because we're taking that time to lock in on our focus and our goals. Because the stuff at work, like, you know, depending on the job, a lot of stuff with that I feel like is a matter of time. You know, it's just like, you know, like if you're working hard, you're being diligent, you have good attention, like shit like that is like, that's just with time. You know what I mean? In time, you'll get what you want or where you want to be, you know, but I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah, fine. It's a very fine line, I think, but you also have to have goals.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be willing to, for lack of better terminology, like you have to be willing to eat shit sometimes. Like someone at work, I think I told you this, someone at work, he said, sometimes you're the dog and sometimes you're the fire hydrant. And I was like, I'm stealing that. So it's stolen. You know, sometimes you get pissed on, you know, but sometimes you're the one pissing.
That's interesting that you say that, because I one thing that was thrown around a lot for my end of the summer, again, going back to, I guess, like money, but in that same wave, is that we never own money. It's just, we never own money. It's just when it's our turn to spend it.
Right.
And like that to me just kind of like hit me a lot. It was just like, I know especially during the which made me get like the first or the second job, was every time I was able to get like my check for my first job, I either then had to pay like
a bill.
Like our bill for the rent, or then I had to just pay then like medical fees, or I just had to pay, and like I know then that was starting to just like warm me down, but then like having to be aware of just kind of like no, like you're slowly but surely, even if you're not realizing it like consciously, like you're locking yourself into this like into this like a mindset of just kind of like, I don't want to then continuously like have to just like base my emotions off of this like monetary value, you know, and like I understand it with myself, but I think like with anything, it's just like that balance, you know. I know genuinely like one word, if I could describe this summer, is balance. And like balancing of like trying not to let my brain go back down to like such a low level, but then understanding that like it's all right to let yourself feel. Because also, speaking about feelings, one thing that I did this summer, or more towards the end of the summer, I finally went to therapy. And Lord have mercy, was that something, not bad something, But just like I was able to learn a lot, and I was very grateful with myself. That my therapist, she talked about too, where like basically in the end of the day, like therapy is just their professional guides, you know? Because in the end of the day, the only person that is able to change is you. But then that doesn't mean that you have to go at it alone. And one thing that, like, for example, like, because I remember, like, she told me that, and then my brain was just thinking about, like, well, I know I have, like, really good people in my life. Like, I named you. I was like, I have Andrew. Like, I have, like, someone that I've taught, like, I've been able to talk about shit, and, like, it's been reciprocated. And then she was like, no, that's valid, but, like, understand that, like, when it comes to therapy, it's a one-way street. You don't have to think about what you say might affect the other person's feelings. You're able to just genuinely just say your shit. Right. Unfiltered. Which then that alone also made me, like, confused in a weird way. Oh, not bad or weird. It's just the fact that it's like you're able to just speak without have to do that self-edited in your brain.
Right.
But with one of the things that I really enjoyed was it was one word, and she said, I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it's called equanimity. But it's essentially you just let yourself feel. It doesn't matter if it's a good emotion or a bad emotion, any type of emotion. It's all right to just let it, like, once it enters through you, you just let it just flow throughout your entire body until it goes back into the earth. And the thing that I believe, I know for myself, that is really hard is, especially when I have a bad emotion, is I lock.
Right. Going back to the constipation.
Right. That emotional
you hold it
constipation.
In.
You hold it in. And I know I would hold it in because it's like, why am I feeling like this?
Right.
I shouldn't feel feeling like this. I have all of this stuff. But it's like, no. It's okay.
Right. It is.
You are allowed to feel.
Right.
Because you are human.
Right.
And I think that is one thing a lot of us tend to forget, which is pretty funny thinking about that. Or just strange. I know that's just one of many stuff I know I had to lock in during this summer.
Right. Man. I started a journal. I didn't go to therapy, but I started a journal.
How's that been like?
I forget to do it sometimes. Because now I'm like, I sleep all day. Yeah. But I think just having that outlet and having someone like, which is Adrian, I just go talking about her, but like having Adrian like encourage that of like, that same thing of just like, just say how you feel. Just say how you feel. Like, stop like bottling it. Like, just say how you feel. Fuck. Like, chill out. Say how you feel. And, and then finally being like, maybe you're onto something there. So I think in that way, that's also helped me kind of lock in that, like, I do find work though still within, I think when it's not necessarily even work, it's when you have a passion. It helps you process things, and like, because I'll have moments, and I feel like I've said this in a previous episode, like I'll have moments when I'm at work where I get to be quiet for a little bit, and like I get to just think, and my thoughts just come in and out, and just flow, or I just don't think of anything, which is also okay.
Right.
I don't, it's like that, that soundbite that's like, a person who always thinks only has thoughts, or like some shit like that. But like genuinely, like sometimes it's okay to like just zone out. So like you don't have to, in like a productive way though. Of like you don't. Not every moment also needs to be so, in like, cerebral. It doesn't have to be so like I have to be thinking about something. I have to be worried about something. I have to be emoting about something. Sometimes it's like you can just exist. And that to me, I'm finding is like what I think sometimes what peace is. Where I get to like sit by a fire and I'm just looking at the fire and I'm not thinking about anything.
You're just existing.
I'm just existing with the fire. And then I might be like, oh, I gotta like put more wood on it.
Right.
But I think it's different little things like that. It's good to have. And I think that's what I've also learned coming into like the fall is that it is important to still have like passions or just interests or like just little things that you do to pass the time. You know, like my YouTube shit, like it always seems like sometimes I'm on the phone, but I'm like actually like trying to use my imagination.
No, I completely get that. I know with what you were saying, like one of the side stuff that I started is with like streaming.
It's a perfect example.
I started this past January, so we're almost about to be at a year.
Oh hell yeah!
Which is insane, and I've learned so much from it, both of course the good and the bad side of it. I know one of the many things that I've seen many others like start up like around me, but then also very quickly just like stop.
Right.
And it's just again like it's just that mind and that mental like just harshness towards yourself.
Right. Right.
Just being so cruel to yourself. Because I know I was like that. I like.
Yes, I remember that like that rut for a second.
It was just bad because it was like I remember like I would see other people and other friends and like and I felt so bad because it was like I would feel so great for them, but then I know there's just a back of my brain that I know I think that was just envy. But like in the sense of just like it wouldn't be like why is this person like doing so much better than me, but it's like what am I doing wrong? Why is like what do I do? Is it something wrong with me? Am I just bad? But then realizing like no, literally like again, and you've seen it time and time again with your film, with like your passion for film and literally any other shit. Everybody is in their own lane, and that's okay. Right. There are people that are gonna take years until it's just boom. There's people gonna like do streaming like one night and then they're like a pop sensation. Right. In the end of the day, it's as long as you as the artist, the creator, no matter what, as long as you're putting out something that you enjoy, that you love, then that's all that matters. Even if it's just two people that are watching your shit.
Hell yeah.
That are just there for you.
Right.
Then that's all that matters, man. And really learning that, but again, truly letting yourself seep that into yourself, not just saying it out loud. But again, like again, instead of just listening to people, it's just instead of just hearing another person out, it's like listening to them. Really, just doing that, but for yourself. Right. And then I know with that, then I felt much better and slowly but surely, like I said it many times again, like I am gonna be at a good place with this. I am going to garner a community. I want to garner a community that is just like pure in the sense where they are just genuine to themselves and genuine towards others. Right. And I understand with myself that I know that this world there is good. Right. It might seem like it's very, very small, but there are genuine people. And I know for myself, I just want to create something like that as a little, like, safe haven, if you will. Right. Like in Dark Souls or just this type of games where, like, you go and there's, like, the little fire, like, you, like, come to the fire to relax for a little bit before you go on to your journey. I'm going to be like that for others.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's lock in, but set yourself free.
Yeah. Genuinely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Having goals for yourself.
That's really, I think, what gets you to anywhere. That gets you anywhere. Because the problem is, I think the problem is once you have no goals, no obstacles that you're giving yourself, once you're unchallenged, you're stagnant. Right. And we've touched on that before. Yeah, you become stagnant. You're just nothing, and then not like you're nothing, but you have nothing going on. You're not challenged. Right. If you don't care, then you're not invested. You're not engaged, even if it's to yourself or to other people around you. And then you're just like you're losing the value of everything. You know, it's like imagine being surrounded by gold, but you keep looking at your feet, so you can't see all the gold around you. Right. Because you're just so like ugh. It's like you got even if it's unrealistic, you have to have some kind of goals or like some kind of want. You know, the second you're like, right. Whatever. Or if it's something that's if it's something too obtainable. You know, I just want food. like cookies, where I want porn. You know, I want drugs, and it's like, well, now it's not gonna work. That's not a goal. There's no obstacle there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Then you're locking yourself in. You know.
And I think that then goes back to just the balancing out, because it's like
right.
Because there are times where like really like you woke up, you got out of bed, you took a shower.
Oh yeah.
You did your necessities.
Right. Those are achievements.
Those are achievements, and it's good. But then always to know that like there will be more, and to let yourself feel that.
Right.
That it's okay to like maybe it's an inch by inch. But just to like feel it out, because then all of a sudden you're gonna look back, and you have a whole ass like city behind you that you created.
Right. Right.
I know that's just stuff that I have been just thinking about, and I mean I guess it kind of it goes into that of the thinking of inch by inch, but like really allowing yourself to take it a moment at a moment, an hour by an hour, hell even a second of a second if it needs to be to that point.
Right.
Because I know that's one thing like with the talking about like the just only working it made me scared. Because I feel like I've definitely like told you about this dream, but I remember I had a dream where I was in college, and I ended up getting caught by my parental figure, and I essentially ended up then being forced to go back home. And I was forced to then like work under that person, and just to shed of any progress of myself, any of my creativity, all of that. And I remember then living just slowly but surely that incident it never got fixed. It just got suppressed, like with a lot of other stuff. And I remember then in that dream, I ended up then being like in this arranged like marriage, and then I had a wife and 2 kids. And I then remember it was in my 50s. I was 54 and I was ordering power tools online. And I ended up coming across then my old Gmail, aka the one that I have now. And I remember there I saw my videos, my films, and I just like, it just clicked. And I just remember just opening my eyes, and like, that's when then it would be the first time that I just cried. And this dream, mind you, like outside, this was during my sophomore year of college, and it was just so grand to me, because I remember just crying so much, literally yelling out, being like, I told myself I wasn't going to do this. I told myself I wasn't going to live just to work, to do things that I didn't want to do.
Right.
I failed. Or more so than I failed, I gave up.
Right.
I gave up on myself, on my child self, on my spirit. And here I am. And then from that, then I remember like waking up, and then my heart was just like pop, 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 and I was like, that was just a dream.
Right.
But more so than that was just a dream. That was genuinely like
a nightmare.
Yeah, no, definitely a nightmare, but I believe that was just like a premonition. I think that was just in my way of saying it, like just a bad ending.
Yeah, the bad timeline. Bad timeline. Wrong turn.
Literally wrong turn.
Turn left. Right.
But yeah, again, it's just of the like letting yourself lock in, but also letting yourself be free with your shit, you know, until like literally like not having to do everything in one day.
Right. Also true. Yes.
It's okay. Like if today the only thing you did was like, I want to create a movie. So the first thing I do is just I watch movies.
Right.
Maybe the second day is like, maybe I'll think of this character.
Right.
And then slowly but surely.
Right. It's just intentionality.
Yeah.
That's the trick, and we'll talk about this time. But like, it is, you have to be intentional. It just has to be deliberate. It has to be for a reason. You can't meander, because then it just doesn't happen.
Right.
Because it just, I think it's this, it's just the moment you have like a lack or wavering of like your will, or your consciousness, it's so easy to just lose track of it, and it just runs around in a field somewhere, like away from your body. You know what I mean? Like, you have to. That's the locking in. To me, that's the locking in. Is the where is my intention? Where is my energy? And where is my focus? Where is my consciousness?
Right.
Because then that's how you line everything else up. You know, and like, what steps do I need to take to like herd that in together? Get my like ducks in a row, or my sheep in a herd, or whatever things do. You know, like. But it's interesting because I find, at least for me, that's why I'm very like try to cut out all like the excess, because it makes that process, at least for me, it makes that process so much easier.
If you don't mind me asking, like what would be like excess and stuff like that?
So like one example is like, you know, at one point my Instagram, it was like I had 990 something followers, and I was following like 870 some people, and now I follow like 120, and I like got rid of like, I only have like maybe 720 followers now. Like I got rid of like, I stopped following like all of those people, and then got rid of all of those people, just like as an example of like. And I've been talking about this with Adrian recently. But even still, like, I'll still, like, find something, and I'm like, nah, and I'll unfollow him. Because I'm like, I haven't spoken to you in 5 years.
Right.
You haven't spoken to me in 5 years. I don't even know what you're up to. I don't really, and not in, like, a malice way. Not, like, with malicious intent, but just, like, I don't really care what you're up to, and very clearly, you don't really care what's going on with me either. Because this cyber world isn't real.
Right.
And, like, understanding that, like, I don't have to maintain relationships out of obligation. I don't have to do things because I'm obligated to engage in them. I do things because I want to do them, or because I don't want to do them. Like, even that to me is like minimalism.
Right.
In that, like, I'm not going to do or keep things I don't want or don't use. Like, this relationship doesn't add anything to me.
Right.
Like, your absence or my absence from you doesn't really change my life in a significant way, so why do that? Right. You know, like, I can't even, like, manifest a reason. You know, so even, like, that to me is, you know, or, like, how much time do you spend on your social media? You know, or, like, and then when you're on it, what are you doing? Or, like, what platform? You know what I mean? Like, if you're spending, like, I'm not trying to say, like, social media I think is overall just, like, kind of shitty. But, like, you know, if you spend... Like, spending an hour on TikTok to me is very different from spending an hour even on, like, Instagram, depending on what you're doing. Because a TikTok, I don't have TikTok, so someone that has TikTok probably could speak better on it, but, like, I'm imagining all those videos, an hour, a straight hour of just unlimited just video. Like, what is that doing for you? You know what I mean? You can't even remember any of them. You might remember one.
I understand what you mean. I assume you're because you're coming out of this from like a consumer like type of way. Because because I was gonna say, because I get what you mean in that same wave. Because I personally I don't use TikTok really like for this like the seeing stuff, but I do TikTok, I guess, like. No, I was gonna quote this, but I guess it's business or like the content side. Because I know I use TikTok to put out like clips and stuff like that, or
right. But see, that's
But then so it's different because I want to say it goes back to then what you were talking about before, the intentionality,
right?
Right. Because it's if you're going on an hour or something like that in social media, but what you're doing is like you're pumping out content or you're like doing stuff, then it's like, productive,
right? But I think it's just the end. Right. It's the unintentional, like, just doom scrolling or just like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? Like that messes up when you lock in. That distracts you from the focus.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think because you said, from like a consumer perspective, I think it's this: we are spiritual beings living in a world that's commodified. Is so unnatural. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why, like, indigenous peoples are like, land ownership? how do you own land?
Right.
That doesn't make... And, like, even if you... I don't care what anyone says. You sit here. You cannot give me an argument that makes that shit make sense to me. Mm-hmm. How do you own land? It's land. It's the earth. How do you own portions of the earth? Oh, I have stake here. Why? Because I have stuff here. It's stuff. You can't take it with you when you're dead.
Right.
When you were born, you didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, it's not going to exist. The land will always be there.
Right.
Always. Even 3 million years from now, the geography will change, whatever. The land's still there, so why the fuck can anyone own it? That doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. But just reeling it back in. Locking in, if you will. But, you know, it's just that. It's the intentionality. So that's why I think for me, like, cutting back on stuff, getting rid of physical things that you don't need, it clears up that clutter. You're not physically, like, hindered by things, mentally hindered by things, spiritually. Like, Soul's looking over, when they move back, they got with the new PC, there's just, like, the room's kind of messy, but...
Yeah.
But it's still the point of, like, people... But this is the thing, homie. Even if right now it's messy, people live like this.
Which is...
A majority... Like, so many Americans are hoarders. Yeah. Mind-boggling.
And that's the thing that's crazy, because this is one thing that Andrew knows of, like, me, and a lot of people know of me, but, like, I don't like owning a lot of stuff. I barely own a lot of stuff. Like, really, the only thing close to me would just be my PC setup, some clothes on my back that I have for, like, now for fucking, like, almost a decade now.
A true gamer.
And, like, that's that.
I just need a PC and a bed, homie.
Literally, but then it's insane because it's like, especially this year. Like, for example, this summer, I finally bought shoes.
Right.
I remember...
Cool shoes, bro.
Thank you. It's just a pair of sneakers. I didn't know what memory foam was. Lord have mercy, are they, like, a godsend from heaven?
Ah!
It's so good. But, like... Literally, the last time I bought, like, anything of articles of clothing was when I was still in high school.
Right.
And with a lot of stuff, I never enjoyed having too much to me. Because, of course, due to a lot of stuff, but mainly I just, like, it just does not feel right to me.
Right.
With a lot of stuff, I always just felt so nice just being able to just be on myself or just, like,
yeah, just less is more.
Just right. But then I knew, like, with that, like, having that type of mindset would just be so foreign to, like, others. Mm-hmm. Of just them either just saying their, like, just spewing different, like, stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just essentially, like, either spend more, do, like, X, Y, and Z or stuff like that. And I think what you said before, again, with the intentionality of that, is spending, like, I don't want to say what you think is right, because for each person, it's, like, their own unique stuff, but, like, for me personally, I feel like spending to go, like, on a trip is pretty nice, because it's, like, really you're gaining experience.
Right.
And I feel like experience is just so much more valuable, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, even stuff with, like, right now with the PC, with these mics and all of this stuff, it's because... if I am intentionally finally upgrading all of this stuff to, like, help me with just, like, my different, like, paths and stuff like that I've told myself I'm going to do. But the thing also, too, that I've learned, again, from you and other folks, is that, like, it's alright also to not say all of that. Because in the end of the day, it's, like, you don't owe anyone anything.
Right.
Which is, like, so weird. Not bad weird, like... it's just good to hear that, because it's like from coming at a place where, like, every time you always had to overshare, like, over explain yourself just to, like, survive and all of that shit, you know? I mean, I might have been in a little bit of a tangent, but, like, it's
no, it's not.
But you know what I mean, like,
no, but this is what it's about, though. It's just the intentionality plus energy plus goals / wants equals progress. That right there is the equation for locking in. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're unintentional, without goal, without want, and I would say like greater want, not lust. You know what I mean? Like not like desire.
Yeah.
Because English is a very limited language, but that equals trapping yourself. That equals locking yourself in instead of locking your mindset in.
Right.
Because like your emotions are to be the passengers, you have to be the driver. You know what I mean? You let them come in for the ride. They can maybe influence the direction you want to go in, but you cannot let that shit handle you. Right. You know what I mean? You can't let that grab the wheel. You can't let that build up inside you. You can't let it permeate inside you and start like rotting your insides.
Right.
You got to let your feelings go. You got to find the things you want and you have to do them.
And it's scary.
And it's absolutely fucking terrifying.
But that's also okay.
Being alive.
Right.
But think about it. I'd rather have that than the day-to-day fighting a lion for food. You know what I mean? Like that's what people, I think we're so accustomed to being human. And I think we're so accustomed to being like higher level beings on this planet that like, you don't think about the squirrel. Like, holy shit, that fucking squirrel has to climb all these trees, combat with all this construction, combat with all these cars, pollution, all this shit just to eat acorns.
Right.
I have no concept of that. I don't even want a concept of that, honestly. I don't want to be a squirrel. I'm a human.
Like an ant.
An ant, fuck. They're so locked in. They're so locked in, they're happy to just be no one amongst millions of their own family members. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the problem is with people is then we're treated like ants, but forget that we're all a family. That's the difference. We're all marching in rows and we don't know why.
Right.
But that's why we're humans and not ants. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad this summer that we had like, I'm sad we had to be apart.
Yeah.
Tear. Boo-hoo.
Boo.
XO in the chat.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
Rip. But that time away and then converging together again, just like we are now even more solidified as beings and our goals and wants. And then like combining that power, that's community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was going to say, I know I don't think we had like a proper like chance to talk because I know you've just been busy with work and also these last 2 weekends like, also we went to Kuko. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah. If you guys listen to Kuko, can we
Beautiful.
like end the episode with like it fading into like a Kuko song?
Sure.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll edit that for you guys. Definitely recommend. That was a fun concert.
Yeah. It was incredible.
Where's that, Terminal 5?
Yeah, Terminal 5.
Yeah, that's a cool venue.
Damn, my brain's...
No, but we went to that, and then Adrian and I had like a Indigenous Peoples Day weekend getaway.
Oh no, but the sense of the community, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, Indigenous Peoples. Whoop whoop.
Wow. But it was a sense of I remember coming in this second time, but also just thinking about the first time we ever did this, the first time you and I like got this apartment, and we were away because of just like college and stuff like that. And like finally coming in, and it's just like I feel like I would see and hear and just think these past selves just slowly but surely like just doing the same routine, or not same routines, but like doing what they had to carve to then turn into then our current selves.
Right. Weird, huh?
Right. And it's just something I know I just would, one of the many stuff I constantly just think about, of just always just thinking from like humans to animals to just energies. They're all doing what they need to do to just survive. But we as humans have the autonomy to like do more than that.
Right.
We were given that power.
Hell yes, exactly.
But again, like what you say is that we then are either treated or in some way just suppressed into thinking we are those ants. Into thinking that we are just energies that need to just survive, and that's that.
Right.
When that's just not the case.
Right, it's just not.
And I know, especially for myself, because I don't want to speak off of your experience, but I know for myself, I'm in this point of like slowly but surely, it's hard as fuck, but slowly but surely like trying to like not rid myself of my experiences, but to understand what my experiences were and to accept where I was and to then move on.
Right. Ooh.
2 words which are very,
same
very
again for the folks in the back.
Move on.
Hell yeah. I mean, that shit's also very difficult.
Like very insane. I'm not saying this like I'm like after the matter. Like I'm still in the woes.
Right.
I'm still in.
I'm not like a born again Christian that's like, oh yeah, all my traumas, it was just fuel for the fire that is my love for Christ, which would like is super cool by the way.
Right.
It's super cool, but it is like sometimes it is like shit, you know. Right. But shit can be turned into manure.
Yep.
And fertilizer that can help the plants grow. Mm-hmm. But it still stinks.
Right. So stinky.
Very stinky. Very stinky. So, but right, that's all it is. That's the locking in, I think, is realizing that you could turn the shit into corn, you know?
Right. And
corn makes whiskey.
Whiskey's pretty nice.
You know? So it's like, but genuinely, going back to it, it's just, it's just intentionality. Mm-hmm. And no matter what time of the year it is good to like lock in. It's good to, what are my goals? What are the things that I really want and need? And really understanding like what is it that I have around me that I feel like I'm supposed to have, that I don't want to have, and what are the things that I do want, but I honestly don't need. You know what I mean? Because some people are like, man, I want all this money. I want all this cash money, bro. I want this big ass house, all this shit. No, you don't. Like, be fucking for real. No, you don't. What you want maybe is like stability, consistency, security, safety, peace. Like, that's way more achievable of a goal when you allow yourself also to let your process and experience be malleable. I think that's also like going back to like, you don't have to criticize yourself so hard. Right. You know, like a bird has to make a nest a very, like for the most part, a very specific way. Otherwise it doesn't work.
Right.
We don't have to do that.
Right. We don't have to do that.
We don't even have to build a nest. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a nomad. Like, you can do whatever you want. Like, you really could do whatever you want. Obviously, some people have more agency than others, and some people, you know, there's one saying from this show I watched, and he was, some shit was, I don't really want to give context to the show because it doesn't really matter, but he's talking to his brother, and his brother's pretty much just like, oh man, you know, we had it so hard too, Johnny, da-da-da-da, and his, you know, the main character, like, looks at his brother, and he's just like, don't sit here and act like we started at home plate when you know we started on third. You know, like, and that's true. Some people, like, you start, like, way ahead, but you still have to get to home plate again. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people are on third and still don't even get to fucking home. And some people start from first and they get home just fine. So, you know, it's also not criticizing yourself, also where you are. Like you said, it's a different, everyone has their own lane. Every flower has its own speed of growth. But at the same time, like, you have to make sure that you're growing.
Right.
That's the shit. You have to be growing.
Yeah.
Even if it's 1%.
It's still something. You know, like, a certain friend of mine once said is
You quote me on this sometimes.
Gradual progress is still progress. And that genuinely, like, I, like how you say to me with certain stuff of, I don't think you understand how much you mean to me or how much, like, what you said, like, influenced me in such a right way, like, that, but, like, to you with that quote, like, it just clicked in my brain, and it helped me, it's one of the tools that helped me not be so hard on myself.
Good. Hell yeah.
Right. And I appreciate that of you. Because also, with the locking in, too, is to also not drown yourself in those goals either.
Oh, well,
like, and it makes, and of course, saying it out loud is like,
oh, well, duh. But also, like.
But I know people have done this before, because I know myself have done this.
I've done this, right.
Genuinely, first prime example would be with my passion with film. Well, I remember originally drowning myself in just funneling all of that shit, all of my baskets and everything in that. Because to simply put, film was the thing that made me realize, like, that purpose, or just that, like, giving myself one of that second chance in life. But then I know it became an unhealthy obsession because I was just equating filming to then living. Which, that shouldn't all be the case, you know?
Right.
Like, you can't just have one thing that defines your existence.
Right.
There's so many things that make you you.
Right.
So I know that's just one thing that, like, I stress. Even if there's one fucking person listening right now.
Right.
To just hold it in your heart, in your vessel. To understand what you, like, first understanding what you want to do. Making those goals to do it for yourself.
Right.
But to not be hard.
Right.
Literally. You just take it one step at a time. And enjoy yourself in the process.
Right. That's the biggest thing.
Enjoy the process. Because if you don't, then it's like...
What the fuck? What are you doing?
What's the point? And there's a difference between being frustrated at a process. But I'm saying truly, miserable. Like, if you're being just miserable. If you're... it's the same shit with the living to work.
Right.
If all you're doing is waking up, not even thinking. Again, the zoning out.
Right.
If all you're doing is zone out when you go in, you come out, you literally eat shit, piss, like whatever it is. And you just do the same shit on Fridays. You go to the bars at Benny's with friends. You come back, you do that same shit over and over again. But like, again, if you're doing it without intention.
Right.
If truly what it is you want is just a very simple life, whatever it is, that's fine. As long as it's something you want and you like. Damn, English language really is limited. Because I wanted to say desire, but like, you know what I mean? Like, just that like.
Your want.
Your want.
Your drive, your will.
Your drive. What if it's the will that commands it?
Right.
Then let that. Like,
if the
go.
Spirit compels you. That's
something
an old friend used to say. If the Spirit compels you.
If the Spirit compels you, if the will commands it,
right,
just let it be. You know.
Right. Just don't. You can't zombie.
Right.
You can't just.
Because then also one thing I know for myself scares me to the fucking bone, is all of a sudden snapping out of it, being how I am right now. But when I'm fucking towards the end or at the end of my life, and then being like, damn, I could have done all of this shit.
Right.
Even if I would have failed miserably, I could have at least attempted.
Right.
Or tried.
Right.
But I never let myself do that.
It. Right.
And now I have to finish this lifetime knowing that. And moving on to God knows where.
Right. Right. Or you got to do all the shit all over again because you didn't do the shit you were supposed to the first time.
Right. Right. And now we can talk about more.
That on another episode. Yeah, so lock in, but don't lock yourself down.
Yep.
Have a goal. Set boundaries. Drink water. Drink
water.
Dream big. Be intentional. Cut out bullshit. It's not worth it. It's all easier said than done, but you have to start. And at the end of the day, like, an unwillingness to start genuinely, because you have to, like, to be real. And actually, last kind of side note, because I was talking about this previously, in that, like, sometimes you gotta be harsh with your friends. Not even harsh, but like stern, where you're just like, nah, homie, like, this is how it is. This is how it is, homies. All the stuff we're saying, it can be difficult, but at the end of the day, if you're unwilling to start it, whatever reasons you're coming up with to not start it is an excuse. Because you just have to do it.
Right.
You're at you went to the diving board. You're at the top, and everyone's looking at you. That childhood shit where you're like, I don't want to jump. It's water. You know, and if you know how to swim, you know that it's 15 feet deep. You're not going to hit the bottom. You just don't want to jump. And that can be okay. But whatever reason you're manifesting for not jumping is an excuse. Because there's no one here that's bullying you.
Right.
There's no one here telling you, like, you have to do it, but there's no one telling you you have to do it, if that makes sense. No one's telling you to jump. No one's saying not to.
Right.
You got to do that because it's your life and your journey.
Right.
And even if other people are telling you to, you still the one that has to do the jumping. No one can push you.
Right. You could jump or just
not. But then you have to be okay with that.
Right.
I personally, I'm a jumper.
Yeah.
I'm a jumper. Yeah. No, I'm a jump because
do a backflip up that.
Because you have to live it second by second, minute by minute, day by day. I guess hour by hour, then day by day, whatever time. But today I might be dead. I might die on my way to work.
Yeah.
But like before I go, I'm gonna have a nice conversation with my girl. I'm making my podcast with my homie. I'm gonna kiss my cat. Like I'm gonna have some nice little snack-a-do. Like I'm gonna live my life. And you just have to be willing to do that with intention.
Yeah.
And so I hope whoever's listening is happy that we're back. Because we're going to try to make this a more regular thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because now we're going to lock in.
Lock in.
Hell yeah.
Yup.
If you guys have ideas, too, for, like, discipline, that's a good episode idea. If you guys have episode ideas, you want to be a guest, you want to hang out, shoot the shit, speak your piece, say your mind. The spirit compels you.
Will commands it.
Or the will commands it. Is there any last words for the audience?
Yeah, well, what Andrew was saying, you could, of course, leave down in the comment any ideas, or you can also hit us up on Instagram or
I'll start that up again too.
YouTube's. Yup. I think we have a Gmail. Y'all can email us there. All of that good jazz. I want to say, no matter what, is don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Do the things you said you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not let yourself be hard on yourself. And just, simply put, live.
Have fun.
And have fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, until then, I hope you lovely spirits, all little ghoulies out there, have a beautiful rest of your morning / evening / night or / wherever you are
just
in
your
space.
Time. Just have a good time, guys.
Have a good time. And yeah, love ya.
Bye.
Oh, bye-bye.